welcome you to let me welcome you to this meeting where we are all interested to hear about the updates from the from government, Department of Disaster, as well as Red Cross on the damage that has taken place due to Freddy cyclone. My name is Stella Masangano. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Malawi Scotland Partnership. I welcome you to this meeting. Indeed, it's very sad that we come here to meet amidst the death of our friends, family, and relations due to the cyclone that has taken place. So far, the message I've seen this afternoon, around 12, I've seen about 225 people have passed away. That is a very sad moment for us. And if we recall, on the 7th March this year, we did receive a press release from Met Department where they indicated that we are likely to experience the cyclone of this nature. So it has happened. So the questions that we need to ask ourselves is, when we received the press release, what measures did we take to ensure that we protect each other, we protect our children, women and children more especially, they are the most vulnerable ones? Those are the questions we need to ask. And also, as moving forward, what is it that we can do to ensure that if we experience a disaster of this nature, how do we protect our friends, family, relations, or fellow neighbors, fellow Malawians? Let me take this opportunity to introduce our speakers. We are going to have speakers from our Department of Disaster. Thereafter, we are also going to have a speaker from CISONET. CISONET is an NGO that works in the agriculture sector. They assist, it's a civil society organization working alongside with government and other civil society to check on the vulnerability, what is the damage that is there, how much the quantities the country is going to have. Then we also have Red Cross. I believe all of you are aware what Red Cross is all about. Without consuming a lot of time, let me stop there. Then I should also mention that this meeting is being co-hosted by ourselves as Malawi Scotland Partnership, as well as the Scotland Malawi Partnership, our sister organization that is based in Scotland. And Stuart is not here, but Chad and the team from Scotland are here. They can just quickly introduce themselves. Then we proceed according to the program that we have here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Stella. Stuart is with us remotely.
Okay. Stuart, just a quick introduction of yourself. Then we are going to have Natasha Muhango from our Department of Disaster here in Malawi.
Thanks very much, Stella. I'm Stuart Brown. I'm the interim CEO of the Scotland Malawi Partnership. We're very grateful to MaSP, our sister organisation, for their leadership in organising this event so swiftly, and we send our great condolences to everybody in Malawi affected.
Thank you, Stuart. Let me now ask our colleague. Let me now ask Natasha Muhango from Department of Disaster here in Malawi to give us an update on the situation on the ground. Thank you so much, Natasha, please.
Let me just say good afternoon to our colleagues. This is Anne Poya, MaSP chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, board chair. Thank you so much. Natasha, please, if you're here. If Natasha is not, Linda, is Natasha here?
I don't see Natasha. So
She's
possibly
not here for now. She just got a quick phone call. She had to attend to some things, but she'll be in 3 minutes. So maybe the speaker from Sisone can start, and then Natasha will follow.
Thank you so much. Our colleague from Sisonet, Mr. Ngoma.
I've just admitted Natasha. I think maybe if she's ready, she can start.
Natasha, we are waiting for you. Thank you.
I'm in. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Natasha. Thank you so much. We are waiting for you to give us an update on the situation on the ground. We greatly appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Just to give you an overview of the situation as of yesterday, 14th March. There are 10 districts in the southern region. Sanji, Kwawa, Palombe, Mulanje, and Zomba are the worst affected. And we also have Plateau, Blantyre, Neno, and Mwanza and Choro that have been affected, and where a state of disaster was declared. And as of yesterday, these areas were still receiving rainfall, a lot of rainfall, and they are still flooded, and the main rivers were still full of water, to the extent that search and rescue operations were not possible. Probably you might have heard that we sent a search and rescue team to Mulanje to rescue about 100 people who are still stranded. But because the river was very full and the speed of the water was very high, this operation was not possible. And the rescuer ended up getting drowned in the river because the boat capsized. Fortunately, none of them has died. As of this morning, two of the rescuers were still trapped. They had to climb in one of the trees where they have spent the whole night, and at 7, there are still efforts to rescue them were still underway. But for the 3, they were already rescued. So this means those people who were trapped, the 100+ people who were trapped, are still trapped. They're still there because we are not able to get to that area. Probably tomorrow, when the water level in the river has gone down, we might continue with the search and rescue operations. In Shiladzulu, we had a mudslide which has swept away a village, and a number of people, several people were killed. And in Palombe, we also had a mudslide that erupted from the mountain in Palombe, which flooded the area. But no life was lost, only people sustained the injuries and they were admitted. And in the same Palombe, we have one tier, they call it tier general, where this area is completely cut off because the bridges to this area have been washed away completely. It's only accessible by boat, but the search and rescue team was not able to get to Palombe because the roads, all the roads to Palombe were cut off, including the Zomba Palombe road was also cut off. So we have people who've been in the camps for the third day now, today, but have not been assisted in any way because the area is completely inaccessible. Also in Sanje, the Nyashkata site is completely cut off, and we had the rescue operations are taking place. But yesterday, when they are going to rescue some people there, two boats got capsized, and two of the rescuer got drowned, but fortunately they were rescued alive. But the boats have been washed away. I don't know if they have been found, but they were searching for those boats. In Ishkwawa, we also have a lot of, apart in Sanje, back to Sanje, apart from the Makanga area, the whole Boma area is flooded up to now. And the road to, and the Bangura area is also completely impassable because it's flooded right now. And the bridge between, one of the bridges between Bangura and Sanje is completely swept away. So it's difficult to reach in Sanje by road. For Chikwawa, it's also flooded. But the only area which is difficult to reach is the area along the East Bank Road, the Makuira area. But of course, some of the areas are accessible, but with difficulties because most of the bridges in the feeder roads have been washed away, and the roads are in very bad condition. And the M1 road has been cut at 5 points. The usual place at near the Kamuzu Bridge, and the usual place after Njalo, and the another bridge near Gabu is also completely cut off. And there's also another bridge which is not in good shape, and the other road, which is 12 kilometers away, I mean the other bridge which is 12 kilometers away to Sanje Boma. So it's really difficult to reach people in the Lower Shire. But just to give you the, and in Blantyre, we had 2 mudslides that happened in Chilobwe and in Sochi. And in Chilobwe, it happened at Naocha, around Naocha, where at least 30 houses, which household, the average household size of 5 people, were swept away, completely covered in the mud. So people were uncovered from the mud. And we also had the other side of the mountain, the Sochi side, where there was also a mudslide, and a village was also swept away. But to give you a summary of the number of people affected, I mean people, yes, and households, and the deaths, registered, as well as camps district by district. We have in Instanje, as of yesterday, we had 4,502 households that are displaced and in camps. In terms of population, these 4,502 households are equivalent to 20,259 people. As of yesterday, close of business, 6 days were registered and the 4 people were reported missing. And these 20,259 people are living in 23 camps. In Ishikwawa, but in Ishikwawa, well, there are 8,837 households, translating to 39,767 people displaced and living in 21 camps. 3 days were registered, while 13 people had sustained various injuries. In Mulanje, as we were closing business last night, we did not have preliminary reports, but the officer just indicated that there were over 7,000 households that are displaced, but I did not record this because I'm waiting for official reports just to avoid the reporting hearsays. And in Zomba, as of yesterday, 296 households were displaced, and this is equivalent to 1,332 people, and one person had died, and they are living in 8 camps. For Blantyre district, I did not have the official report, but what I know, because of the houses that were swept away in our Chachilobo area by the mudslide, in total, there are 46. The 30 were the ones that were completely covered in the mud. 16 were partly damaged by the mud. So in Chilomwe alone, from this incident, 85 people had died, whilst the 134 just sustained injuries. 16 by that time were reported missing, and these 207 people were being accommodated at Naucha camp, one camp. For Blantyre city, by then they reported 925 households displaced, which is equivalent to 4,163 people, and 98 people had died. Whilst the 21 were still missing, and there are 32 camps. In Ichoro, 1,018 households, equivalent to 4,501 people were displaced, and 7 people had died, whilst 3 just sustained injuries, and they were living in 13 camps. In Chiladzulu, 785 people 705 households were displaced. Equivalent population is 3,533, whilst 10 deaths were recorded. And these people were also living in a camps. Unfortunately, I did not indicate the number of camps, but there were over 10 camps. No damages, no deaths, no impact at all was reported. Whilst in Mwanza, by the time I was compiling this data, they did not know the number of people or households affected, but they just reported that 3 people got injured by the houses that fell on them. Whilst in Palombe, they reported 2,280 households, translating to 10,030 people displaced and were living in 37 camps. 6 deaths were recorded, while 40 people got injured by rocks and that were coming with the water, and some in the process of escaping from the flooded waters. They sustained injuries. Yeah, so apart from these 10 districts where a state of disaster was declared, yesterday we also got reports from Machinga, Balaka, and Mangoji districts where people were affected by floods, displaced actually by floods. And by the time that I was compiling this report, Machinga had just indicated that 1 person had died and 13 sustained injuries, and there were 14 camps, but they did not know the number of people or the population in the camps. Whilst in Mangochi, 641 households were reported to be affected, and this is equivalent to 2,885 people, and they were living in 2 camps around the Boma area. So in summary, have 18,689 households, translating to approximately 84,000 people displaced. So the data that I was presenting, or that I'm presenting, is for displaced only. So we have recorded 18,689 households displaced. Now it's 13 districts, 425 deaths across the 13 districts have been recorded, and we have so far 165 camps, active camps across the 13 districts under report. So in terms of support, Dodima is collaborating with the partners, and they have managed to dispatch some relief supplies to Palombe and the Mulanje, as well as Zomba, Blantyre. For Sukwawa and the Stanje, we haven't dispatched any because of the road condition. But before the disaster occurred, we had prepositioned some supplies at the Skwawa Boma and the Bangula State Humanitarian Staging Area. So we just advised them to collect the relief supplies from the warehouses. But we, in terms of what we have provided, we have provided 2 blankets for this number of affected households, 2 blankets per household for the total number of affected households, and also sent 15 tons of maize to the districts, to the 4 districts, Palombe, Mulanje, Zomba, and the Blantyre, and also dispatched jerrycans for storage of water, and some soya pieces and beans, as well as salt. Today, we are planning to dispatch maize flour to the same districts, hoping that the areas will be accessible, especially Palombe, using Blantyre, Mulanje, Palombe route. And some partners also came in to support. For example, Malawi Red Cross Society has supported with the first aid kits, 400 blankets, 300 were distributed at Naocha Primary, where the people affected by the mudslides are currently camping, and 100 to Queen Elizabeth, because most of the people who got injured in the process were admitted at Queen Elizabeth. So the hospital was overwhelmed, and they requested for linen to support the casualties. And they also provided the solar lamps to Naocha camp, and some 20 buckets to Naocha camp for communal use, and the tarpaulins to be used as mats in the camps. The Kamuzu University of Health Sciences supported the Ministry of Health with fuel for 10 ambulances to transport the ferry dead bodies from Naocha, as well as the storage site, and also take the people, the injured people, to the hospital. For Care Malawi, it has subgranted cash to 6 of its partners who are working in the districts to support the district council with some wash and protection services. UNICEF has also had prepositioned some wash facilities, like 149 buckets and plastic tarpaulins in Nsanja and Skwawa. So they just advised the district council to use that those prepositioned supplies for initial response. So far, that's the only support that has been provided to the affected district. For Baraka, Mashinga, and the Mangoji, as well as to send relief items tomorrow. Yeah, so that's the impact, as well as the support that has been provided so far. But looking at the number of people affected and the support provided so far, there is a mismatch. because what has been provided is too little to cater for the needs of the affected people. And additionally, the relief items provided so far do not address all their needs because we haven't touched on all the needs of the affected people, like in terms of shelter. We have not provided anything, but because these people are currently, most of them are currently in so we need a lot more assistance. And we also have not provided the food for specific groups or special groups like the children, CSP, or the pregnant and lactating mothers. So the food that was provided is just the maize for the grown-ups. We have not addressed the needs of the under fives. So we have also come up with a list of immediate needs. For example, under shelter, we are requesting porta police that can be used as mats or used to make makeshift houses, temporary houses. We also need a family tents or big tents where people can be accommodated, because as I've already indicated, they need to vacate the schools so that the teaching and learning should continue. So we need to, find another safer place. But for them to be moved, we need the tents, either family or just big tents that can accommodate more people. We need them urgently. We also need the plastic sheets. If we cannot find the tents, the tarpaulin, we can just use the plastic sheets to make temporary shelter. We need the blankets. What we have provided so far is not enough, considering that the number of affected people is increasing every day. Sometimes it's doubling or tripling. We also need clothes, lighting lamps, and the kits for women. We need to mosquito nets because there's water all over, and this is a very conducive breeding environment for mosquitoes. So to avoid secondary disasters like outbreak of malaria, we need to give these people tents so that they can protect themselves. And also the mobile clinic services, especially in the areas where the health facilities have been affected, and also in the camps where people have evacuated to. We need the plates, we need the cups, the cups, the pots, as well as the pails. We need them for cooking and the food processing as well. For food processing. For wash, we need mobile toilets. Most of the sanitation facilities at the schools in very bad shape. They are either almost full. And now that we have in some camps like 2,500 people, it won't take a week before these toilets are built. So we need mobile toilets. We also need water treatment chemicals, soap, as well as buckets for washing or bathing. And in terms of food, we need maize, especially maize, because maize flour, because we have prolonged or long hours of blackouts, and most of the mills are run on electricity. So it's difficult for them to process the maize when we give them maize. So now we are shifting from provision of maize to maize flour. And we also need the easy to cook radish like soya pieces or dry fish, or anything that can be easily prepared. We need sugar, we need salt, we need corn soya blend for the under 5s, as well as pregnant mothers who need the beans as well, where, especially in the areas where they have access to, in the camps where they have access to firewood, and also the cooking oil. Yeah, so these are the immediate needs to address the immediate needs of the affected people. For donation, we have our donation accounts with FDH, and the details have been already shared with various partners, and it can also be found on the Dodma Facebook page, even on the website. So we are looking, apart from the in-kind support, we are receiving any type of support, even for the search and rescue, because most of the areas are still not accessible, or even the air self-support for the delivery of relief item in the areas that cannot be accessible by road. So any kind of assistance will be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so that's what I can say for now. But we'll keep on updating the figures once we get updates from the district councils. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha, for the comprehensive report on the emergency, the flooding that has happened in Malawi. Indeed, it's a very pathetic situation, and government and other agencies are overwhelmed with what is happening. So at this point, let me ask Julius Ngoma from CISONET to also speak on the disaster that has happened. Julius, please, thank you. As for Natasha, there are questions in the chat box. As maybe Julius is speaking, you can take your time to have a look at them. You are going to answer them at the end. Once everyone has spoken, then you are going to respond to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Julius Ngoma from CISONEC, coordinator. And I want to thank Natasha for that comprehensive report and presentation on the situation we have in Malawi. It's really a very sad situation. I think we moved some of the areas in Zomba and also part of Palombe. I think things are not really okay. But I think my contribution is just to center on preparedness, but also center on how we can move forward from the situation. I must recommend actually the government of Malawi through the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services, including the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, for the work I think that has been done so far. One, in providing the much needed information on the cyclone. I think updating each and every day on the status of the cyclone, but also trying to preposition people and other essential services in some of the districts where the cyclone was supposed to, or was actually expected to have its impact. So we've seen a number of communications that CISONEC actually and its members took part in terms of dissemination, but also communicating this information to different stakeholders and even local communities. So we had a lot of other channels that were using WhatsApp or Facebook, providing this information when we are having community and even district meetings on the cyclone, so that people get to to understand what is coming and but also on their own, they need to be able to do something about it. So I think we've done that part, and with all the different players that we coordinate with, we've done that part. We supported the DCCMS on that, but also we supported DODMA on the same issue. And we continue to support these two departments and the government of Malawi through engagement, continuous engagement with the other stakeholders. Yes, for the past 2 days, we've been raising awareness on the cyclone, its impacts, and calling on stakeholders both in Malawi, but also international collaborators to actually step in terms of supporting the government of Malawi to provide financial resources. So usually what we do is to lobby them to go directly and work with the departments, especially the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, whenever there's any need for support to channel, then so that they can contact the commissioner, but also the directors with any kind of support that they have, so that they can be able to support our communities who are heavily affected by the impacts of the cyclones. But also internally, there are so many other initiatives that we are doing to mobilize resources, to mobilize even financial and other material resources, so that we are able to also step in to support the government of Malawi in terms of addressing some of the challenges that are there in the different districts that Natasha has actually mentioned. So we continue to do that, and we have been implementing some programs together with some partners where we are trying to reallocate resources for some of the activities to even support further the government of Malawi to actually help the communities that are affected by the cyclones. Moving on, we also, what we wanted to see is more intensification of awareness on the issue of climate-related disasters. We've seen, maybe we are coming from a situation where people did not really understand what the impacts of, for example, rising temperatures would do to events such as cyclones. What we hear from the scientific point of view is that the Mozambican channel keeps on warming, and that means anytime there's development of any cyclone on the Mozambican channel and the ocean, it might be something which might be more devastating, but there might also be happening more frequent. As you have observed, the Cyclone Freddy, I think it's developed 3 weeks ago, and then it's developed again to even come back and cause a lot of damages. So moving forward, I think we need to intensify our programs in terms of preparing our communities, our citizens in the different districts, especially the southern region of Malawi needs to be more resilient as we move forward, so that if we have any other similar situations, events in the future, then I think some of these things they should actually be finding us in a situation where at least more people are not vulnerable, and more people are more resilient, and we have resilient infrastructure, but also any support system is already built within our own system. So that's what we're looking at, and I think we are going to work closely with the government of Malawi actually to make sure that such resilience is built, and intensification of awareness on what climate change can do to amplify disasters would mean we need to do more into such kind of programs. So let me stop there, but I think I didn't want to comment too much on what Natasha has said. I think has said very comprehensive information that we've also been receiving as civil society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julius, Mr. Ngoma Julius, for the your presentation on preparedness. Indeed, preparedness is one of the areas that we need to intensify. The warning letter was issued by Met Department, 7th March. The question we need to ask ourselves, how did we prepare to ensure that we minimize loss of property, especially loss of life, the suffering, the plight of the children and women. At this point in time, let me ask my colleague from Malawi Red Cross, Chisomo Teptepu, also to give his or her presentation. Chisomo, please. Thank you. If Chisomo is not here, maybe we can have a presentation from a Genco. A Genco is an electrical generation company. So maybe we can have the presentation from Mr. Gwaza. Mr. Gwaza, if you're here, please go ahead to make your presentation as we are waiting for Chisomo to get himself or herself organized. Thank you. Mr. Moses Gwaza, if you're on mute, please unmute yourself. Maybe as we wait for Mr. Gwaza, before Natasha leaves, is it possible, Natasha, you take the questions that are in the chat box before you leave, please? We know you are busy, but we can give you 5 minutes you can give us 5 minutes of your time, so you respond to some of the questions that are in the chat box.
Okay, I've responded to some, if not all. Well, okay, let me go up. Others are asking me to share the list of immediate needs. I will share with them, with you. In fact, we have a situation report which I can share with Linda, and Linda can share with you. For the supplies coming from, so I'm assuming this is about Dodoma supplies. So we have a warehouse in Blanta where we already pre-positioned to cater for the districts in the southern region, apart from Chikwawa and Sanje. Because we did preposition in Chikwawa, at Chikwawa Boma, and in Sanje at Bangula warehouses, because we could foresee that at some point the road might be would be cut off again, since the spots which were affected, which were cut off by tropical storm Anna and Gombe were not permanently fixed. So for is it important that you share the document? Yes, I will share. The other, I can't see the other question. I can't see the other question. You can read them out for me.
Damed, is it possible you read out? You should read the questions so that maybe Natasha can respond. Thank you.
There was a question from Emily Phillips. Natasha, what measures are in place to ensure the donations reach the intended victims and avoid any misappropriation from people who may wish to take advantage of the dire situation?
Okay. For this one, because when we have the donations, it's not a must that the donation should come to Dodoma or the OS, but it depends on the wish of the donor. Some donors, usually we direct them to the district councils depending on what donation they intend to give. So we look at the severity of the impact and how much support has been provided to the district. So where we see that there are gaps, we direct them to those districts. But generally for Dodoma, it's just the coordination. We don't really handle the donation. So it will depend on the agreement between the donor and the district council on how to deliver the donation. Mostly, we encourage the donors to work with the district councils and deliver the donations together if there are trust issues. And for the monetary donations, we buy the supplies, and we also update on the general public, because we always issue a statement on the donations that we have received and what we have spent the money on. So this helps the donor to track where their donation has gone to. But donors are deliver the donation themselves as long as they go through the district council. The reason why we encourage them to go through the district council is because it's so that they should be directed to where the need is. We do this to avoid duplication of efforts, because if we let the donors just go and deliver wherever they wish, there's always duplication of efforts. Others are assisted more than others, yet they are equally affected. Yeah, that's the only measures that we put in place when we have received donations. We also make a public acknowledgement of all the donations that we have received. And we also, at a later stage, we also compile all the donations and where they are going to, we produce a 5 W matrix, like who has donated what, when, and what content, and where. So we record everything in that 5W matrix. We ask the clusters to update as well as the district councils. Yes, that's what I can say on this question.
And I mean, are there more questions that are directed at Natasha, or we have exhausted them?
No, we
Of
have
course,
exhausted all questions.
Okay, I've seen a question going to SMP as well as ourselves, asking if if SMP is organizing to do any appeal to fundraise, something like that.
Yeah, I think that one will be answered when we we have a slot where we're going to coordinate on such things. So I think we can skip those concerning us and the SMP for now.
Thank you. Let me now ask Moses Gwaza from Ejenko to also quickly give us an update. As I've already said, Ejenko is an electricity generation company here in Malawi. Thank you. Mr. Moses Gwaza, please. Thank you.
This means I can go, right?
Yeah, you're free to go. Thank you so much, Natasha, for the comprehensive update. We greatly appreciate, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, maybe before Moses Waza comes in, I see a hand from Dr. Poyan.
Before Natasha goes, I had a question. I raised. Yes, I was saying that I raised Natasha leaves. The question was to whether she could include information on the location of the camps in the district, so that if a partner wishes to go to a certain camp with the district, they should be able to plan for the fuel expenses for the transportation of whatever the partner might have collected.
All right. Since we're still in contact with Natasha, be sure to raise that point with her. Thanks.
Moses Waza, you have the floor.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Sorry, I'm on the road, so I might be breaking up, but I'll try to be as quickly as I can. In terms of power generation, we have also been affected by the cyclone, mainly in two ways. One is the fact that because of most of the tributaries to the Shire River, where our major hydropower stations are located, they're flooded, so they're tending to wash away a lot of debris, including anything that is on their way. So we've had a problem of accumulation of excessive trash in the power stations. So when we have a lot of trash like this, it tends to block the intake screens, blocking water to drive the turbines. So we've had situations where we have to switch on and off the machines to clear the trash. Another problem that we have is the high water levels. As much as we need water to generate electricity, but when the water is excessive, it's also a problem because we cannot maintain the correct pressures to drive the turbine. So again, because of that, we've had to switch off machines from time to time to wait for the water to lower, and then we start again. So it's been like that since the past 3 days or so. So those are the major ways that we've been affected. But also to mention that, as you might be aware, the cyclone last year destroyed the Kapitira power station. So we are currently doing some work to restore power generation at the site. And because of the cyclone that has come now, we have had to evacuate everyone from the working site so that we don't lose any life. So we have also been affected in that regard because the works have stopped. So in general, I would say that the situation as we speak is still not okay because the water level is still high and we continue to receive a lot of trash. So we don't know when we can resume normal power generation because it all now depends on whether the cyclone is still around or not. But I would say that in general, power generation has been badly affected. Hello, let me stop there for now if there are any questions.
Yeah, if you have questions to our colleague here, Mr. Moses Banda, please, you can ask him. Thank you. If there are no questions, let me now ask Kisomo from Red Cross to also give us an update of what is
someone
happening.
Has raised a hand.
Oh, okay. I'm not able to see that. Okay, thank you. Please go ahead and ask the question. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, my question goes to Mr. Gwaza. Isn't it that the Ejenko people have any measures in cases of these cyclones and disasters and whatnot? Don't they have an alternative measure for controlling their machines and everything? Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for that question. Yes, we have measures that are put in place to ensure that whenever we have such high rising waters and such high accumulation of debris, there are a number of measures that we have that are put in place. For example, we have got what we call coast screens and fine screens. Coast screens are there to protect from bigger materials, preventing them from going into the water tunnels. The same way we have the fine screens, which are a bit smaller. They also protect they prevent the trash from going into the machines. And the third layer of protection is the fact that we have got intake gates, spillway gates. When we have a lot of trash like this, and also when we have high water levels like this, we open the gates to water to allow the water to pass through. So those are the measures that we have at the moment. But it's a bigger problem because to effectively deal with this problem, especially the trash problem, there is need for a concerted effort from government, from NGOs, from everyone else, because there is need for a vegetation cover along the Shire River and the tributaries. The river banks, they need to have vegetation so that when we have running water like this, things are not washed away. So we have tried as a Jenk on our part to plant trees every year, but as you may know, our business generally is to generate electricity. We do that as part of social responsibility. So it's an issue that is beyond ourselves as a company for generating electricity. It needs a concerted effort to look at the whole Shire River catchment area so that when we have challenges like this, we can mitigate them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gwaza. I hope if there's any other question to Mr. Gwaza, please do ask.
All right. If there are no any further questions, please allow me to go. As I said, I'm on the road. So if there are no any further questions, I would like to thank you for the time. If there are any other questions, please, you can forward to me. I'll be able to respond by email.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your day and drive safely. God bless you. Let me now ask Chisomo from Red Cross to also say something. Red Cross, please, Chisomo. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Apologies, I joined a bit late. I'll just quickly go straight to the work which we are doing already under the tropical cyclone Freddy. Initially, when we got the communication from the DCCMS, but also in coordination with DODMA, we managed to go across about 10 districts in the Southern Region. The most ones, the ones which have been affected with the anticipated actions. So what we've been doing, we've been working with the councils, the RROs, in terms of disseminating the area warning action messages through the community radios, but also at the national level, the jingles, but also another means was the van publicity, door-to-door messages using the CPCs and also the volunteers, but also went further to print the messages to influential leaders like the community leaders, but also the religious leaders, where we went into the churches, but also the communities, so that they can read out loud, I think, in terms of the information regarding the pending cyclone. So indeed, we managed to do that in all the districts. Now coming to the areas of the life-saving, but also the immediate response, we've been part of the search and rescue cluster to support the ongoing operations in a number of districts with personnel, but also some resources, including the first aid where it was also necessary. Prior to the disaster, we were able to preposition some stock in Chikwawa and Sanje, but also some at Bangula, WFP humanitarian stage, and also in Chikwawa as well. So currently in Blantyre as well, currently we are utilizing the NFIs to the camps, where I think we are providing based on the needs which are coming from the EOC, which is led by DODMA. So there are a number of NFIs which are available, but our support is coming in when we get the request from the EOC. Yeah, currently we are also sitting in the EOC to complement the government's efforts. We have 2 individuals who are supporting there with the shelter, but also search and rescue support, and also 1 individual who is also supporting in terms of information management together with other members. In terms of assessment, which is being planned by DODMA and also other partners, will be part of that. And also would love maybe to see how best we can support also the clusters where we co-lead, such as housing. Additional, and on top of that, we'll continue, I think, monitoring the situation as we will be also mobilizing the resources for immediate, but also long-term. Recently, we have been also engaged in terms of supporting the camp setup and management through DODMA. That's when we're also trying to send the resources in various districts, according to the data for yesterday, which was indicating around 45 camps. We are also thinking around supporting the same. Yeah, I think in a nutshell, that's what I can update for now, but we are available to complement to the government's efforts through government, but also through the EOC. Finally, I think we are also in partnership with the UNICEF. So we have also some WASH-related supplies, which we have already dispatched for Blantyre and also some other Southern Region districts, so that as we are distributing the other NFIs, we can also combine with the cholera WASH-related supplies, as we might all know that cholera is already here, but also might also be a secondary hazard from flooding. Definitely, we need to integrate both as we are doing our response moving forward. Otherwise, over to you, Chair. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to present. Thank you.
Mr. Chisomo Teptep, Am I allowed as a chair to ask you a question? I just want to find out, last year we also had disaster, and this year as well. I want to find out, do you think this year we are well prepared to handle the disaster that has taken place? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam. I'll respond as Red Cross, but I'll also respond as a member of some clusters. I will mention to say, in terms of Red Cross, I think we were, because we have been there in terms of, we've been in time in terms of issuing the information, which was led by DCCMS, but also in coordination with Dodima. So we still feel that when we knew about this Fred, we went to all the districts which have been affected in time to disseminate the information in various areas together with the government. That already gives us a picture to say we did well from our side. Regarding the prepositioning of stock, we've been also in touch with the government through Dodima. From their side, they managed to preposition some food items. From our side, we managed to preposition some NFIs in the districts which we feel might be affected, starting from Blantyre, Chikwawa and Sanje. We did all those. So we still feel that on those areas we managed well. But maybe one of the things which I just learned for Blantyre, it's maybe no one expected Blantyre to hit us as hard as what has happened. So those are some of the lessons where everyone can learn from. Especially sad that maybe lives have been lost. But in terms of other preparedness, we try to do that. The only other challenge is from our side, we can also mention that our stock level for this year was not as maybe previously. That's why we continue also to mobilize with other internal partners, but also beyond that. So I think from your question, if I can answer like that, I think that makes a little sense. Additionally to that, maybe I've also learned one thing which has been done well so far is the EOC, which has been established in Blantyre. I've seen that in comparison to last year, everyone was producing data the way they want, but now at least everyone is benefiting from the information which passes through the EOC. But also in terms of the recent response, I'm already seeing that our response is based on what is generated from the EOC. And the EOC was also activated, the clusters were activated, and also the establishment of EOC were done prior to the disaster itself. So that's also a plus already. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Colleagues in here, please feel free to ask our colleague questions, or maybe if you have any comment, you can comment.
Yeah, can I ask a question to? Yes, Chair, my question to Red Cross was just to find out, because I know that after Cyclone Anna, Red Cross was very active in the recovery process. And I know a week or so they had just handed over resilient houses in Chikwawa and in Sanje. So I wanted to know whether these houses are still standing today after Cyclone Freddy.
Thank you so much, Madam. We also checked that with our district staff, and I can confirm that all the houses which we have just constructed, but also the ones we constructed some years ago, they are all safe. That also proves already that, building resilient houses is also important. So something which we are happy of, because that's what the communities can replicate at the end of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Do you have any question to Chisomo? If you have questions, please do ask him. Before I do ask Stuart from Scotland and Malawi Partnership to also speak. sort of conclude.
Sarah, I've
Yes?
got my hand up. I don't know if you can see it. Just quickly.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't able to see. Please proceed. Thank you. Proceed to speak. Sorry for that. Yeah.
I think I've already put it in the chat, but it was just maybe to follow up on Dr. Poya's question to say what measures are being put in place for the aftermath, because we've learned from the past cyclones that everybody gets busy this time, and once the cameras are away, the communities are left without much support. So since we've already got cholera on the ground and we know there's going to be a lot of diseases coming, what's being done to prepare for that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam. I will respond quickly to say we have an emergency appeal already ongoing, funded by the International Federation of Red Cross, which is also already targeting about 15 districts, including the ones already affected in Chikwawa, Sanje, Mulanje, the likes of Palombe, Blantyre, Machinga. So I should say that our emergency appeal is ongoing, especially though it's also focusing on cholera. But we are already talking with our partners internally within the movement, but also outside, maybe to launch an emergency appeal as quick as possible, focusing on freight, because the figures which are coming, they are already showing that this is something which we can do immediately, but also for long term. So as MLCS, we are already working on that, but also a good picture which I can share with you on how Red Cross work. It's currently we are still implementing the Cyclone Anna, Tropical Storm Anna interventions for recovery. An example of the houses which were just handed over, but also we handed over as well the schools which were rehabilitating recently in about 4 districts as well. We distributed cash around December for livelihoods, for agriculture inputs in some districts like Palombe, Chikwawa and Sanje, but also we provided some cash for livelihoods. So those are some of the interventions which we've been doing previously, and we are also planning, maybe based on the intelligence assessment, but also our internal detailed assessments, which we'll do soon after the immediate response. Definitely, we are geared to talk to our donors, but also the partner movements within the Red Cross and Red Crescent, so that maybe we can also focus beyond the immediate response. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Colleagues, friends, if you have questions, if you have comments, please ask before maybe I ask Stuart to conclude.
I raised a hand. My hand is raised up now.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm using a phone, so it's not showing, but please proceed. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you very much. As I said, I'm Isaac Monjo Chavula from TNE. Actually, I'm the country director for TNE. I really appreciate the presentations, which were so elaborate and full of information. Thank you for the updates. TNE is working in Mulanje and among other districts, but in Southern Region, we are in Mulanje. We have something which we can say that will support the initiative, especially when it comes to recovery program, because we'll intervene where we need to supply some planting materials. So I think I'll have to go through the district council, as you have suggested, that we should always try to link up with the district council. So I'll approach the district council for that. But I have a question, especially when we're looking at our strategic action in Malawi. We see areas which are prone to floods and landslides being habitated by people. So my question is, what are government plans regarding policy guiding where someone can erect a structure for residence and the other structures, of course? My second question is concerning what a GENCO representative said, acknowledging that problems in electricity is due to flash flooding of rivers that contribute to the Shire River. My issue is that TN is ready to partner with any effort that is supposed to rehabilitate catchments, because we have a technology which actually controls erosion in the fields. Apart from increasing yields, its main focus is also helping farmers to manage their soils and water. So my plea is TN organization is ready to partner with such organizations that are working in catchment rehabilitation. Thank you very much. But the question I have posed to government, I am looking forward to why is it the government is allowing people to construct in flash flood prone areas like banks of rivers and hillsides which are so prone, and any floods like this will actually create landslides and lives are lost, property is lost. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Javula. Indeed, your questions are very pertinent. And let me ask, Natasha has gone from government. Do we have any government official here who can assist us with responding to the questions that Mr. Javula has asked? Mr. Javula, what will happen is we'll take note, send your email address and your contact phone number. We'll ask our colleagues in government the question that you've posed, then we'll give you feedback. On the trash, regarding the trash that blocked
what Javula has said about the construction of drain. We have been following the social media since.
Okay, I thought the board chair is speaking. So, Dr. Poya, continue speaking. I thought you were responding to the questions that our colleague Isaac did ask. Okay, for the question, for the offer on the trash, as Malawi Scotland Partnership, we are indeed grateful that you are making this offer to government or to a GENCO. We'll also link you with our colleagues in a GENCO so that maybe you can speak to them and hear what will be their response. Let me now ask Stuart Brown from Scotland and Malawi Partnership to conclude. Thank you, Stuart, please. Thank you.
Can I say something about? Can I say something before Stuart?
Yeah, go ahead, no problem.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Javula raised very pertinent questions, and I think when I was making my remarks, I touched on what we, I think on the very same issue, and looking at how, maybe the science and also IPCC reports is indicating on what might happen in the future due to climate change. So I think this is not an issue that we might want to just leave the government alone to deal with, much as we know there are policies, there are laws that are supposed to be, applied, but also are supposed to be developed to address the issue. I think as citizens, we also have a role to play in terms of sensitizing our own, neighborhoods in terms of where and how we can address our own, issues, pertaining issues to do with land and land use and so on and so forth. But suffice to say that I think the opportunities, the government is coming up with the disaster risk management bill, which has not been yet passed in Parliament. But the bill, I think, once it's it's enacted, it should be able to help the government to have more powers to force people out of some of the areas that are not, or those that will be identified as the disaster-prone areas. We know we have some laws that are there, but are not really helping us. I think one part of it is the issue of political will. And we just hope that once the disaster risk management bill is there and enacted, there's also going to be political will to support Malawians, especially to force people that are living in all those disaster-prone areas to move out. Otherwise, that's the only that's one way of us to try to prepare for future events such as cyclones, because if we cling to such areas, then I think we are going to be having more casualties. Sorry to say that, but this is, I just wanted to agree with what Moses said. I think we need to do something as a country and force and remind our government that they have a role to play, actually, to exercise their powers to move out people and anyone else who is developing in areas that are disaster prone, marked as disaster prone areas. Thank you.
Chair, I wanted to mention, that in addition to what Mr. Banda has said, the law and the political will is there because, for example, when we had Cyclone Anna, I recall that the office of the Vice President had visited these sites in Blantyre, and he told the people to move out of those places, and the City Assembly of Blantyre was told to do that. The challenge now is behavioral change communication for the people that are involved, because when the government people go there to remove these people, they come up with their own source of ideas. Sometimes they become very violent and all that. So probably as we are looking at the recovery process, what we need when we are teaching the people about climate change, let us also tell them the dangers of where they're building these houses. But in terms of the law and the political will, we have those instruments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Poya. There was another colleague who wanted to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
I'm Bearings from WaterAid. We are really also being touched with what is happening in the southern part of Malawi. And we want to support 4 districts, Zomba, Mangochi, Blantyre, and Mashinga. And Natasha, during her presentation, she also mentioned a number of issues, more especially on the most important, the most needed support that has to be provided. So, Chair, can you share us with that presentation where those are some of the items that have been listed there, so that it can also help us in the repositioning of our support in the districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Belling Banda from WaterAid. Let me now ask Stuart Brown to come and make his presentation. Stuart, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stella, and thanks to all speakers for providing such valuable insights. It's of course so incredibly unfair and tragic that the southern region of Malawi has been devastated in this way, and our thoughts are with everybody affected by it. Being Malawi-led and on Malawi's priorities, responding most effectively and appropriately to Tropical Cyclone Freddy is vital to us at the Scotland Malawi Partnership, the SNP. On Monday, we created a dedicated webpage on the cyclone, which we'll update constantly to share the latest information from Malawi and to signpost to appeals. Like MaSP, we'll share the list of urgent needs that Natasha has mentioned and Berling's just spoke of. We'll use our social media platforms and newsletter to spread the word. And this event's being recorded, so we'll reach many more people after today. We'll highlight what is being requested by agencies on the ground in Malawi, how to give, how to support most meaningfully, and to respond to what our friends in Malawi are requesting. We'll also pass on the various offers from members in Scotland to Malawi. In answer to one of the questions, the SNP Secretariat will absolutely organise an appeal fund if called for by our members, and we'll act quickly on that to do so. But we also want to respect not diluting existing channels of giving. You can contact any of us at the Scotland Malawi Partnership staff with the contacts that you have for us, or using the central email address that I've put in to the chat box, info@scotland-malawipartnership.org. We at the SNP will actively help to coordinate and amplify all of the Scottish civic society efforts where support is wanted, and we'll coordinate closely with MaSP and remain in touch with colleagues in the international development team at the Scottish Government, some of whom are taking part in this meeting today. Please do get in touch with us at the SNP and MaSP in any ways that we can to support. Thanks very much, Stella, back to you.
Thank you so much, Stuart. At this point, we have exhausted all the presenters, and let me speak on behalf of my colleagues in Malawi Scotland Partnership to say we are grateful that despite the fact that the meeting been noted that the cyclones are here to stay. Last year we had Anna, this year we had Freddy, and the impact is very devastating. So the steps that we as Malawians, of course with our brothers and sisters from Scotland, we need to prepare, because if we don't prepare ourselves, one day we will not speak about 400 or 300 loss of life. We are going to speak about thousands and thousands of lives will be lost. So preparedness seems to be from the presentation. I've noted that maybe there are some gaps in preparing in terms of scientific predictions to say if meteorological department predicts, what is it that we need to do? Do we just stay in disaster or flood-prone areas and wait to see what will happen? As civil society organizations, it is our role to push for the duty bearers to say, meteorological department has given us this information. What is it that we are doing so that the people should move out? The people who are in flood-prone areas should move out. Do we have enough maybe camps, or do we have food just like Red Cross did to prepare? You keep the food so that maybe if it happens, people should not be starved. Women and children, they are also a victim of these things. And the needs of women are so enormous that maybe even now we are not able to provide for them. So it is the responsibility of everyone, be it the government, the civil society, private companies, to also push that we prepare. If we prepare, it means we can be able to save, or we can be able to reduce the damage that these cyclones cause in most cases. So at this point in time, let me close the meeting. But if there's anybody who has anything to say, we can give each other maybe 3 minutes, then we'll close the link. Thank you so much for attending, and we cherish, we are going to make follow-ups on some of the issues that have been raised here. God bless you. Thank you.
Stella, I wanted to ask if the MaSP members can remain on the screen for a few minutes.
No problem, yeah. MaSP members, please, if you're in here, please, you can remain so that the board can speak to us. Thank you so much. The proceeding has been recorded, so if you want the record, if you want to listen or to share with your colleagues, it will be posted on our website as well as SMP website, so you can forward to other people who hasn't been able to come, so that they can listen and hear what is happening here in Malawi as far as Freddy cyclone is concerned. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Probably you should now stop the recording because it's now we are going into a different meeting.